We have been listening to Hugh Freeze just on the eve of his first appearance ever in the British Open. Welcome back to Atlanta. And Mike Giddens. I was supposed to laugh at my own jokes. Peter Raderkos and Justin Ferguson all join us here. Peter, I heard a lot there. I'm just going to keep quiet here and just get your impressions of Coach Freeze today.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a lot to talk about right now with him and with Auburn. And he came in, he was confident. I mean, during his press conference today, he said that he believes Auburn is going to be in the CFP discussion this year. He believes in the roster. He believes in Jackson Arnold. You know, there seems to be, despite all the noise with golf, with recruiting, with rev share, there's a lot of confidence going into 2025.
Yeah, I think it was important today for Auburn to try to pivot the conversation. It's been a tough summer. It's been a rough summer, and the only thing that's going to fix the problems they face this summer is winning in the fall. So Hugh Freeze coming out here and saying, you know what, I have confidence in my team. I like my roster, and he should. I mean, they've recruited really well these last couple of years. It's probably the best roster Auburn's had since maybe 2019. They just got to actually make it count on the field. But, yeah, if you're going to want to come in here and say, all right, let's not talk about golf, let's not talk about the recruiting, I think all of the issues that Auburn is currently facing can only be fixed on the field in the fall. And so putting that focus on it was kind of priority number one for Freeze today.
I got to agree with Justin, but I think it's important to remember that this is the discussion about where Auburn should be this year is always where they were supposed to be in year 3. The first 2 years were so disappointing, it feels like this huge monumental jump. But they went out and they recruited well. He got practically a blank checkbook to get who he wanted, and they spent that money the best way that they felt like they could. They didn't go after a big-time quarterback in the last recruiting cycle. He feels like he has his guy in Jackson Arnold now. I think if Auburn does not clear the over, which is at 7, Vegas said at 7.5, Paul, there are going to be questions about whether this is the right coach and not about the talent. By composite star, you know, Justin said since 2019, I think this is the most talented roster we've seen since 2004.
Really? That's going back.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent.
Was Governor Tuberville, wasn't it? I mean, Senator Tuberville. I'm getting ahead of myself. Peter, it has become a punchline, and it's a self-inflicted wound based on, I guess, Hugh Freeze's honesty in relation to posting his golf scores, which nobody has to do as a football coach. I mean, maybe if you're playing in the Alabama State Amateur, you need to put in a score. So was that page turned today?
I think that was definitely the attempt, the goal, you know, like Justin was talking about. I mean, today was really about shifting the conversation and making it about football and making it about the things that the strengths Auburn has going into this year. You know, the recruiting is not very good right now. You know, the golf stuff from last month was not a great look given where the recruiting class was, but it is true that this roster is much better this year going into the past couple of years. And I think today Hugh Freeze just really want to put a focus on that, and I think, you know, we'll see in the coming days, coming weeks, what the conversation looks like among fans, among people on social media, but that was definitely what they came in here and tried to do today.
Yeah, and certainly, Justin, you deal with a lot of people on social media. That's what all of you do with, whether you really want to or not. That's kind of where the action is. What else does Hugh Freeze need to do to turn this page to the season? Because I keep hearing he and his boss promising things will change in recruiting, but really the most important thing is changing the one-loss record, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's what it's going to take. And I think, you know, for the last couple of years, Auburn's kind of done things backwards in the fact that they've recruited like a team that should be contending for the playoff but haven't had the results. And now I think you're no longer selling that hope. You're no longer selling that, early playing time for some of these kids, and I think that has an effect on the recruiting trail. So what do you have to do? You have to give kids out there reasons to believe, hey, Auburn's a place where I can get developed, I can be on a winning team, I can stay here. You haven't had that, though, right now. And so for, Hugh Freeze and this team, it's like it's all of this just really comes down to winning. And like you said today, there were several games last season that they could have won, that they should have won. You finish 5-7, you could easily make the argument that Auburn could have been 8-4 with just, doing the little things correctly.
I was down at Auburn for the Oklahoma game, and they had that game in really good shape.
Yeah. Oklahoma, Missouri, the
Missouri,
Cal game.
Missouri was actually worse.
Yeah. The Cal game and the Arkansas game were both winnable at home. So I mean, I think for Auburn, it's just you got to do the little things right because. As Mike was saying, and as Peter's like, this is a really, really talented team. It's a good star power. They've got it. But is it a problem of talent, or or are there other things going on? And this fall, it is kind of put up or shut up time.
So Mike, let's talk about this opening game because I don't know how to interpret Baylor. I mean, it sounds like a difficult place to play, and a win would really give the team some juice. But as you look at that game and look at the Vegas number, where do you come down?
Well, it's funny. This is the first thing I asked him when he sat down with us at 8:30 this morning. It's how good is Auburn going to look game one? Is it going to be one of these things where you're asking Auburn fans for patience to get it together? Last year, every week we went to the press conferences. It was we're shrinking the package to the things that we feel like they do well. Well, you've got the roster you want. You've got the players you want. It should look good from game one. This is a game that Auburn should win. And look, Baylor's no pushover. They're a solid football team. Right. So it will be a tough road test, but you've got to start to win tough road tests. You asked a second ago to Justin, like, what do you got to do to turn the page to football and away from golf games? And when you're losing football games, everything sticks. All these other narratives stick. And if you want them to not stick, you've got to go out and win. That starts week 1, August 29th at Baylor on the road. Sitting here right now, tell me a signature win Auburn has under Hugh Freeze.
Not hard to answer your question.
Then I won. They don't have a signature win. And I've sat down with Coach one-on-one. We've done the press gaggles together. I like where his mind and his heart is at about it, but you need more than that at this point. You just referenced, what him and John Cohen, his boss, are espousing in the media. I remember when you came to Auburn during the Oklahoma game, John Cohen sat there for 30 minutes.
My goodness.
Really just kind of defending where Auburn was at and talking about how they had to rebuild. And look, Auburn is a place you can win. Coaches have done it there. It's just time to show results on the field. I think that's the bottom line. So they've got the schedule to do it.
So, Justin, just in terms of the traffic that you deal with on your site and you hear, I thought Auburn fans were in good shape with Hugh Freeze, but lately it's felt like it's all over the map. Where are they right now, and what do they want to see this fall beyond CFP discussion?
Yeah, no, I mean it's a fan base that's desperate for results. Auburn's had 4 straight losing seasons. That hadn't happened since right after World War II.
Incredible.
And it's a place where you should never be in that position. And I think the recruiting stuff here recently, that downturn, has just kind of underlined it even more. You're frustrated when you make a recruiting-based rebuild and you haven't gotten the results with it yet, and then the recruiting starts to tail off. I think you got fans that are frustrated, and I think there's hope because they look at this team, they look at maybe the best wide receiver room Auburn's ever had. They look at a quarterback in Jackson Arnold they think can hit the reset button. They look at a defense that was ahead of schedule last season, and they experience offensive line. Like, they see a team that could be really good, and turn that corner. But right now it's just like you did this in the Harsin era, you did it towards the end of the Gus Malzahn era, and you've done it so far in the Freeze era. It's just like we've heard a lot of talk. You need results, and I think that's where it's kind of funny because we're at media days and all we can do right now is talk. But like it's a fan base that's desperate for something real.
Well, Peter, the golf stuff is low-hanging fruit, but it's just so funny if you're not Hugh Freeze. And I from a distance, and I'm certainly at a distance, I don't think he's done a very good job of turning the page.
I mean, they both talked about it. When you're losing games, it's easy to become the punching bag.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously you can't win any games in June. You can't win any games in July. But when in June and July, you're losing recruits when all these other schools, especially
That's
Alabama.
That's a problem, though, because if the season doesn't – I mean, Cohen told everybody on the recruiting, but
right.
if the season starts off going haywire – whatever rank they are right now, it's certainly not going to improve.
Well, recruiting was the one thing that you had if you were a fan, and now it's been taken away from you. But last week, I was driving down to Pensacola with my family, and I had a 1-hour conversation with John Cohen about recruiting.
Okay.
Paul, he doesn't think that results on the field have anything to do where Auburn is at in recruiting right now. He thinks their approach to NIL and their more cautious approach to money in the cap and look, my sources are telling me Auburn is getting outbid on average by $100,000 per athlete that they're going after in that upper tier. So, they're saying, hey, look, give us some time. Recruiting will come back around. Let August 1st get here. This is a date they've targeted where they feel like once the rules start to get enforced and people start to get feedback on the deals that they've made and whether they're valid or not, you'll see recruits say, hey, you had fake money and I'm going to the other place that I was considering.
Listen, we have to go, but give me a call when those rules start getting enforced. Okay?
Good point.
Great conversation. We will reconvene soon because it's a fantastic group. Let's continue on right now. Thanks very much to Mike, Peter, and Justin. We have a lot more to do in the final 90 minutes. What a half hour this has been with Coach Sark and this group. We are coming right back to Atlanta.